I'm gonna just go live, man. I ain't been feeling hot for a minute, but I've been, listening to these people talk about, it's black culture, it's their culture, it's the culture, and yada yada yada, for a minute. And these people are full of it, and it doesn't get brought to people's attention enough. But so I'm gonna say some things like with some of these people, anything that black people do is quote unquote ghetto. When they say black culture is get, they're trying to say ghetto culture, yada yada yada. So here's the thing, and ain't nowhere around some of this stuff. A lot of y'all people who like to say, black folks are ghetto. Are they ghetto black folks? Yeah, that's the minority of folks, but no, but a lot of y'all who try to say, everything is, black culture is degenerate and all of that stuff. Y'all not around degenerate black people. And y'all have never been around degenerate black people. So you're not actually talking from experience. You're talking from a fantasy perspective. And how do I know this? Because I grew up around my people. I grew up in the hood in multiple states. And last time I checked, all of you people who are non-black, who talk about what's ghetto, y'all wasn't around us. Don't make this lie like y'all just around black people everywhere you go. That's not true. Especially the people that folks call ghetto. Y'all not coming to y'all don't come to those neighborhoods. Because most of the people in the hood, um, hell, how can I say that? We would go certain places, and it's not the places that you people who claim to have an issue with black people and black culture go. We don't go to the same places. So where did you see us at? Nowhere. Nowhere. You get what I'm saying? And then you get older, you go to college, sometimes you go to college, military, you become an adult, you get into the workforce, and a lot of us have moved from the hood to the suburbs. The people who from the hood who moved to the suburbs, and the people as black who've been in the suburbs their whole life, that ain't quote unquote ghetto culture. And the news flash is they just act like regular black folks from the hood. I know that's hard to believe for a lot of people, but because you got enough time to make up lies on folks. So that's the real reality. These incidents that you get some of these black wannabe white butt kissing conservatives want to play this game. Well, oh man, it's the culture and they acting old ghetto. When's the last time you been around some ghetto stuff? Let's just be honest. When's the last time you've been around ghetto stuff? And the answer would be decades. Because contrary to popular belief, you know, it ain't that ghetto in the hood all the time. Hate to break it. And I'm a person who grew up next to a trap house that used to shoot. You get what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. Everybody didn't grow up like that, even in the hood. So when people play it's the black culture game, what I've learned is, as he would say, it's cool when you do it. It's a problem when I do it. That's what I've learned. Like let's just take black folks and just put them in the suburbs. Are black people known for partying all the time and being loud in the suburbs? No. Actually, that's Hispanics. That's like Mexicans, and for the most part, that's who's drinking and partying all night. That's who does that. But nobody says it's. But nobody has a culture problem with that. And ironically, they don't call the police. People don't call the police on Hispanics like that when they partying like that all the time. That's a stereotype of them in the suburbs that you can see. When it comes to, let's just say, rampant, like I hate to say do that, wild behavior. That's usually white people just doing wild stuff. Racing cars, yelling, fighting, drugs. Just doing too much. You know what I'm saying? That's usually white people. Asians are normally just super quiet. Black folks are normally super quiet. We might have a get together, we might have a barbecue, we might have a cookout. Usually not a big deal. And I'm saying that because it's a Saturday and like college football season starts. What do you know how many times you go into a neighborhood and there's cars lined up the block, usually at somebody's White House, because they just having a get together over football, or, you know what I'm saying, or sometimes baseball, but more so football. That's a normal thing. It's a normal thing. But nobody. But is it an inconvenience to some neighbors? Sometimes it is. But do people trip out about it? No, they don't. And then they'll say stuff like, "Well, they're not up all night and messing with stuff." Black people ain't doing that either, contrary to popular belief. See, the difference is it's salacious. It's salacious. It's something that people could go, what's popping? It's something salacious that people go like, yeah, yeah, I know that's what they're doing. It's like, nah. Just like if you go to college, right? If you go to college, um, white people be high as a kite, drunk all the time. You know what I'm saying? Cheating on tests. A lot of the, I hate to say this, a lot of the women in college, even though they post up the black athlete as the stereotype for women getting assaulted, no, it be the white dudes. They be wilding on them college campuses. They didn't got away with a whole lot before they hit the workforce. But nobody goes, it's their culture. Oh, the culture is just so degenerate because what winds up happening over time is degeneracy in other cultures is really swept under the rug and normalized. That's what winds up happening. It's swept under the rug like, oh, it's not a big deal. Drunkenness swept under the rug. Drug use swept under the rug. Violence swept under the rug. Criminal behavior swept under the rug. And one of the reasons that I'm bringing this up is, you hear that, oh, black people commit violent crimes. Black people commit the violent crimes. They're 13% of the populations, and they commit 50% of the murders. Oh, okay. You're right. You're right. Statistically, you're right. But there's only like two categories of violent crime that we're actually leading in. That's like, what is it? Is a homicide that you could say that, and is it armed robbery or something like that? Like robbing somebody. That's it. What's happening? That's it. So now, all the other 25, 30 categories of violent crime, y'all don't say nothing about. Nothing about, just regular assault. From regular assault to battery to assaulting women and children. Arson. You get what I'm saying? What is it? What is this? Stalking, breaking in the house. Everything else, y'all got it. Extortion. Everything else, y'all got it. But people go, oh, I don't. But we don't go, oh, but it's the culture. It's like, okay, I get what you on. I get what you on. Give me 1 second. So a lot of this stuff that people are talking about at the end of the day, man, is really just a hustle to make people feel better about themselves. Okay. I thought my dog wanted to go outside, but that's all it winds up being. I need to feel better about myself, so let me just, say this and let us all come together like cheerleaders and agree to some stupid stuff. And then the irony of some of this is, like when people like to talk about, like I said, culture and the culture of this and the culture of that, it's weird that you use entertainment as culture. So you heard, wow. Oh man, yeah. BGS is always great to listen to. What's up, Damon? Um, it's weird about the culture scenario because when you like to use entertainment, the rap music, oh, and the violence in the music, it's like, oh, okay. So we're gonna use entertainment as an example. Cool. You do realize all degenerate behavior of all other cultures is viewed as entertainment. The violence. Hey man, just turn on any show on Netflix, Amazon, Disney, Hulu. Hulu. Oh, it shows people wilding. But hey, some odd reason that's not a bad idea, and a lot of that stuff is based on a true story. Based on a true story. Some of it happened recently. Some of it happened back in the day. Some of it they switching into, in current times. It's all, based in reality. But we don't look at it as degenerate. It's like, damn, like when I the most entertaining shows in America seem to be gangster shows. The most entertaining shows, whether they be from here, whether they be from the UK. Oh, we don't say it's culture. Peaky Blinders isn't culture somehow. It's not their culture. Sons of Anarchy is just not their culture. You get what I'm saying? All the way back to In the Heat of the Night, and I forgot, was it All in the Family with Archie Bunker? Just wilding. All of the criminal shows where guys were, just, I was saying shows, from the Goodfellas, that's the movie, from the Goodfellas to the Godfather to Heat, pretty much to Ocean's 11, it's a remake or whatever. All of that stuff is just normalized. It's normalized. From the movie Blow, from, a lot of this stuff we talk about, Ozark, is just, that's culture. The shy could be degenerate. The shy could be degenerate. Power could be degenerate. That's fine, but the problem with that is what? Nobody looks at Breaking Bad as degenerate. That's degenerate as hell. That's degenerate as hell. You know, Queen of the South. I forgot the Pablo Escobar show. You know, all of that is just, it's just entertaining. It's a great show. Like, oh, okay, okay. That's based on some true story, though, right? It's just not degenerate. All we power. I take it. Power, The Shy, Snowfall. Oh, fine. But we could just roll it out. We could just roll out everything else, right? Like I said, Ozark is degenerate. What is the one with I forgot the actor's name. He played Raylan. He played Raylan. He was like a U.S. Marshal. That show was degenerate as hell. Lawless. A bunch of movies. Was degenerate. You know, right. But that's entertainment. It's entertaining. It's like, oh, and that's a true story. Breaking Bad is based on a true story. Sons of Anarchy, based on a true story. You could say Snowfall was based on a true story for sure, but they implemented the government with that, you know. But everybody else goes, it's not. Like I said, Ozark, degenerate. And I say this. I remember watching Ozark with my wife because she wanted me to watch it, and there was a scene early in the episodes where they threw a guy. They was in Chicago. They threw a white guy off of like a 40-story. He lived on a 40th floor. They threw him off the building and he landed like in front of the building, and they just walked off like it, and everybody just walked off like nothing. It's okay. And I thought about that and I said, man, this is why I can't watch this. Like he said, Game of Thrones degenerate. I mean, ugh, Dracarys, you know. But it's all good. When it's other people, it's not a big deal. It's like it is a big deal. But then they say, but they don't make that type of music. Ah, nah. Country music used to talk about a whole lot of drinking and cheating and fighting. Country music, they make, they're, I guess, nowadays you would consider them in the last few years having the best songwriting. But country music was known for just talking about drinking, drugs, infidelity, and fighting. That was pretty much what it was known for. A few dance hits, but the bulk of it was, you know, about that. And people didn't look at that as degenerate. They just like, because country is just the blues. That's all country is. Country was made by black folks, but country was just the white version of the blues. That's it. But it's not looked at as degenerate. And even with music, with black folks, jazz was looked at as degenerate. Rock and roll was looked at as degenerate. R&B was looked at as degenerate. You get what I'm saying? Um, what was the blues wasn't looked at as degenerate, but people was like, oh my God. It was entertaining for black people to be sad. It was crazy. Hip hop was looked at as degenerate. Is looked at as degenerate. Everything we do is looked at as degenerate. The way we dress became degenerate. The food we eat became degenerate. You know, that's why it's a hustle. Like black folks eating fried chicken and watermelon and eating bananas. Y'all made eating fruits degenerate in this country. And eating fried chicken degenerate when we do it because we created it. But y'all, it's the Wingstop, Chick-fil-A, KFC. Like, it's chicken tenders and chicken fingers everywhere. Raisin canes. If you you know if we could just throw it in some oil and don't put any seasoning on it and put some sauce to it, it's great. But if black people make it, it's degenerate. You know, it always used to make fun of. I used to make fun of people you black people eating watermelon. Like, you're fat. Yeah, I do eat watermelon. It's good and it's healthy. You're fat. You'll have a heart attack if you tried to actually jog a half a mile and you're trying to make fun of me because I eat a watermelon. You eat a banana, you monkey. You're fat. You eat steak. You eat a raw steak and clog your heart up. Y'all made us eating degenerate, which is dumb. Which is absolutely dumb. Absolutely idiotic. So it becomes a hustle because black culture, you know, you don't like the music, but you like the food, and I know you like the music, and I know you like the how can I say this? I know you like the slang because it seems to me that like you monetize everything that's considered black culture. You monetize it, but the culture's degenerate. And then I gotta turn this around at a certain point, and I gotta ask a question. So why are we not talking about y'all culture? We're not talking about you other groups who just are rampant with PDF files. You know, Amber Alerts going off in every state, predominantly white and Hispanic kids getting snatched up. Predominantly. Y'all out here doing organized crimes, stealing people organs. You know, they die and you steal their organs. Like what? And they family figure it out. Like, what's going on? I don't know. This is the type of stuff people doing all the time. But then people don't go, it's your culture. But yeah, it is. You know, smuggling drugs into America, making sure you can smuggle drugs into America. Creating a whole drug trade in America, and then going, it's your culture to be with these drugs, bruh. It's your culture. It wasn't our culture that thought it was a good idea to just smuggle drugs in America. It's your culture who went flying around the globe and on boats like, hey man, you got that coke? You got that heroin? Oh, I love it. You got that weed? That's not our culture. We're not going around the world looking for a high. Not our culture. To the point where it's governmental. To the point where it's been people who had drug problems in the White House in multiple administrations. Multiple administrations. In the last 60 years. But then people don't go, oh man, maybe it's the culture, because a lot of times, the culture is, how can I say that? The culture is covered up. Like when people play that game, like, man, if I say this, it's gonna get ugly. Okay, and I think I've said this before. Have you never watched a movie, or action movie, white action movie? They destroy a lot of stuff. They blow up houses, cars, shoot up neighborhoods, planes, helicopters, just killing everywhere, right? And everybody just walks off like it's all hunky dory. It's all good. They create shows of whole societies of murder, just whole societies. We got a whole underground thing where we're civilized, like John Wick. We're civilized people in suits flying across, living a high life, just killing people every day. We got a hotel in the middle of the city where everybody knows this is where the assassins hang out. The police can come to your house. Are you working again? And that mentality goes out into society. And what I mean by that mentality is the entitlement to do something crazy. The same way y'all say, everything is a ghetto, we look at stuff as people being ghetto too. We don't, you know, the idea that you can infringe on somebody's rights and infringe on somebody's personal space, and being, try to look at people's transactions in the world, always just being nosy as hell, picking fights, just like the Russian guy in Cincinnati that finally got arrested for starting a fight in Cincinnati. He finally got arrested while all the black people went to jail already, right? It's that. It's the culture of, hey man, if I get drunk and I start kicking cars and messing with people, I'm a victim if something happened to me. And it's like, man, here we go again. Because it's that hustle. It becomes a hustle. I saw something this morning. One of my coworkers told me this morning about Russia bombing like a U.S. company, on the other side of Ukraine, but at the same time, the president was like, me and Putin friends, and it's like, and you see this constant. Oh, okay, somebody white do it, it's all good. You the right kind. You the white kind of right. You can get away with everything. And it's like it's not what goes on as far as just being straight degenerates is really not our black culture. It's the rest of America's culture. Just like when you had I hate to bring that up, but when you had the truck driver from another country, trying to do a legal U-turn in Florida, and those people got killed because they ran into the truck. The look on that guy's face, like, man, it's not a big deal. People could say that's a cultural thing. And the interesting thing about that is, for me, is we talked about something very similar when 9/11 happened. It's no way a group of black people could go to what is it called? Not aviation school and get on aviation simulators and learn how to fly, but don't learn how to land without it being a red flag. It was the same thing prior to that with the Oklahoma City bombing, when a white dude was buying all of that stuff, all of the fertilizer and all that, which you could be flagged for creating a bomb with that stuff if you get it all together. But since he was a white dude buying it, it wasn't a big deal. You get what I'm saying? It's the same issue again. I saw something. I was listening to something today with Red Supreme when he was talking about deportations and ICE and a family. They pulled him over, they shot at him or whatever. The cops broke the car window and they tried to drive off and they shot at him, and other people was getting arrested. And a company that was, I guess it was a Mexican company, like a Mexican bakery / grocery store. They were hiring illegals, so now they're gonna lock up the owners of the business, but really because they was Mexican or Hispanic, because they're not gonna lock up any white people who got these construction companies and some of these lawn care companies and some of these what do you call that? Some of these trades companies, crafts and everything, roofers and all kinds of other. They're not gonna lock the white people up that hired illegals. They're gonna lock the Hispanics up, because that's the culture of I could do it, and it's wrong if I do it. It's fine, but if you do it and it's wrong, it's illegal. And it's like, oh, okay, I get it. That's the culture. That's the culture. But then you turn around and go, oh, it's blacks, and it's like, whatever. And then, then you get other people who are not white, Hispanics, Asians, Middle Easterners, Caribbeans, Africans. Not so much Caribbeans. I will say this, not so much Caribbeans. They play the, oh man, you black people ain't got a culture, or you black people culture is degenerate. It's like, bro, if I get on the internet and get on social media, I'm gonna see every last one of y'all trying to emulate some aspects of black culture. And then the crazy part about it is some of y'all have emulated black culture and you didn't even know it was black culture. Because a lot of y'all like to push, degeneracy with black culture. And I brought this up before because a lot of y'all don't know the history of black Americans. See, when people go, oh, we were in the medical field, it's like, if you was in the medical field, you would know how many things that black Americans have contributed to the medical field in America. There are a lot of things, from the blood banks to the open heart surgery to the ambulance, to the EMS, to certain tools created. You get it? Like, y'all it really doesn't dawn on y'all that, oh, okay, we didn't know. You didn't know. You play the lotto, don't you? but you participating in black culture. I say, oh no, no, yeah, yeah. Using a refrigerator, using the air conditioning in your house and in your car, you know, your lights come on, right? That's black culture. No, no, that's Thomas Edison. No, that's not Thomas Edison. You know, and people, because people don't know Lewis Latimer like that. Y'all barely know Mikhail Tesla, but that's black culture. You get what I'm saying? We all need smartphones and these cell phones. Black culture, the video game culture that was created. Black culture. Black man invented it. But no, it was a no, no, no. Who was accredited for creating the single, basically the video game console with a single cartridge? A black man. I know y'all have an issue with that type of stuff. Fine, you're eating chips. You're sitting here snacking all the time. You're eating chips. Black culture. A lot of y'all don't. A lot of y'all having a have an aversion to the reality that the vast majority of things that you got in your home, in your car, on your person were probably created by somebody black. You got an alarm system in your house? Black culture. But then people go, "Oh no, I didn't, no, no, no. That's different. It's not different. You gotta take everything into consideration. You know, when they play the game, like black culture, like when it's school just started. Black culture, these black kids aren't smart. They don't like to read. Last time I checked, most of America is doing horrible. Most of the kids in America aren't doing good in school. They're not that bright. That ain't black culture. That's America. And you know how I know it's America? Because white America has a history of trying to dumb down other kids that aren't white. That's a normal thing to the point where they dumb down America. And if you wanna say no, that's not true. Well, let me ask you a question. If it wasn't true, what you need a H-1B1 visas for? What did you need all of these foreign smart kids to come from their country to America for? You know why? Because you dumb down your own kids. That's why. If everybody was so smart, you would have all of these geniuses in America, right? But you don't. And the truth is, you had a lot of geniuses in America. You have a lot of geniuses in America, but you dumbed down the vast majority of them because it wasn't convenient. That's your culture. And people go, no, it can't be true. Yes, it is. Oh, it absolutely is true. So when we play the culture game, you leave something out. You leave certain things out. People play the look at the parenting situation. Look at the kids. Okay, okay. You sure you want to do this? You sure you want to do this? Because now you got all of these kids with all of this anxiety and all these issues, and they can't learn and they can't deal with life. And no, that's from parenting. That is from parenting. That's what that's from. Bad parenting. you know, when I was a kid, that the stereotype, of the black kids of fatherless homes, basically, the worst thing we would be, we would come up in fatherless homes, and they say we'd be degenerate, and we'll wind up in prison or in jail, right? Jail and prison for killing somebody. That's our worst stereotype as kids. You know what the worst stereotype if you was white or Hispanic? Well, white predominantly, but Hispanics did it too. You kill your parents. That's it. Like that's what it was. Oh yeah, you can. Oh, if you're a kid and if you black, you be like, oh man, you gonna go out in the world and shoot somebody. If you white, you gonna shoot your parents. But it's our culture is an issue. That's the weirdest thing in the world to me because that's the extreme. That's the extreme. And we used to, and people go, well, there are more people who went to jail that were black for killing somebody than white people who killed their parents. And you're like, you absolutely right. You absolutely right. But you know what else though? We saw more white parents scared of their kids than black parents scared of theirs. That's a fact. We saw so many white kids talking crazy and reckless to their parents, like they was really gonna get at their parents, and their parents just let it go. Our parents and our family be like, talk crazy if you want to, you're gonna pick up your teeth. But we go, it's the culture, and now that society is swinging, the pendulum of being too easy on people is going back to being more stern. All those things that people said, black people did wrong with, whipping their kids and keeping their kids in line. Everybody doing it. Everybody doing it. And ironically, it's looked at as great. It's been looked at as great parenting. If white kids whip their kids, it's great parenting. Hispanic parents whip their kids, great parenting. Asian parents whip their kids, great parenting. Black parents whip their kids, they're abusive and they're creating criminals. It's bull. It's some BS. It's some BS. You know, that was a whole affluenza argument. That's what that was. The whole affluenza argument. Oh man, he got it. They got it too good to have good sense. What? What did you just say? That was the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing when the judge was like, "Hey, Kyle, we're just gonna take this out. We're gonna give you a soft. I'm the judge, but hey, buddy, I got your back. Forget this fair and impartial thing, and forget me judging the law. No, 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 no. They got a video you saying you're gonna go shoot somebody, but right before you shot somebody, but I don't like. I think that's inadmissible. It's like what? That's the culture. That's why I talked about the Russian guy in Cincinnati. He go out and smacks. He go out picking fights and smack people, get beat up, and you got the whole United States, the government, messing with, "Oh, black people are animals." Part of me believes that the Russian people getting beat up, getting their butts kicked justifiably in Cincinnati is why you wind up with all these National Guard and troops in D.C. Like, we're gonna show you blacks. You're not gonna put your hands on a white Russian starting fights with you guys. We're gonna show you, and it's like, oh, okay, okay, whatever you say, buddy, because it's the culture. This is something that people like to just skip over all the time, and then because bad behavior in public, how can I say this? Being rude and disrespectful, if you're not black in America, is normal. If you're white and you go out and you're rude and disrespectful to people, it's not a big deal. Hispanic, you could be rude. You might be drunk. You might get knocked out, but nobody cares. Asian is looked at it. It's like, whoa, this is a weird blow up, but it's okay. Like matter of fact, let me flip this around in a way. You can every other group in America except for Black Americans, and I say this, Black Caribbeans and Africans too, because they ain't gonna know y'all black at first. I mean, they ain't gonna know y'all Caribbean or African at first. Every other group can sit on their front porch with a group of people, drink sodas, drink beers, maybe smoke cigars or cigarettes and sit on the front lawn and chill out. Not a big deal. Police, they won't get a Karen and they won't get police popping up on them. They can go fish like that. If you black, you can't do that. It becomes an issue. If you, like I said, if you Asian, you know, and you're doing that and you're just minding your business, just chilling out, shooting a breeze with your friends, not a big deal. But if you black, oh, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And that's the reality of it. And people forget that on purpose. They forget it, but they forget it on purpose. Like right now, just using something simple and petty, right? Right now, even in the NFL, you got a few different stories. You know, you got Eric Dickerson saying that, hey man, somebody that he knows from the inside told him that basically the NFL colluded to not draft Shador to basically send a message to his dad, right? To his dad, like that's what you get. Now the irony of this is what, and everybody didn't, and nobody had a problem with it. And then you got Jerry Jones, got a whole little he got his whole Netflix series out right now, right? But at the same time, they're looking, people aren't looking at the fact that he owns a team and he's the general manager of a team and he's trying to negotiate with a player on national TV. That's breaking all the rules and all the laws of anything, especially in the NFL's dynamic. But doesn't matter because hey, I'm white and it's cool. Same thing, with the president, right? Not, I mean, in business, he was able to just do whatever he wanted. Wasn't a big deal. That was the culture. If he was black, he'd be in jail for just for his business dealings. His reputation would be shot. But people don't, and I ain't gonna say Jerry Jones because Jerry Jones has been made a villain for ever since he fired Tom Landry. So, you know, that's what that is. You know, sometimes and he did a lot of good things. Obviously, he did a lot of the right things because his team is valued is the most valuable sports team on the planet. So obviously, his decision making has been great as far as business. Maybe not winning, but business, he definitely got it right. But that's the issue. It's not looked at as bad when somebody who's white does it. It's not, whether you're a regular person chilling in front of your house, or you're a regular person fishing, you know, or you're a CEO, owner or CEO of a company, and it's like, well, it's okay. Do it. They can do whatever they want. It's like, all right, man. But we don't say it's their culture. And then people play the game. Well, why don't you just have the guts to just go out and take what you want in the world like these other people? Oh, okay. So you want us to handle business like everybody else? Cool. There's one problem with that. It sounds good when you say it, but if you actually do it, Oh my God, they calling the police, the National Guard, the FBI, the CIA, the Better Business Bureau. Oh my God. And this is just for doing good business, by the way. The IRS. And how, that's not true. Yes, it is. Because let me rewind what I said earlier. You're not gonna catch black truck drivers that that just got a license just because. Like we can't do that. We can't even go from like you had people coming from other parts of the world to America and becoming a truck driver basically without passing the test. We can't go across to another country and pull that stunt. And we can't do that in America. Oh look, I'm gonna give you. Look, man, I'm a black dude. I'm gonna give you some money. Here, man, just give me a CDL. Ain't finna happen. And this ain't the first time something like that happened. They, ru- what a month ago they had the story of the I think the Indian guy or Arab guy in Louisiana who basically was like, hey, if I say I got assaulted, I can get a fast track to a visa, and he was paying off cops. Just saying he got robbed. I got robbed. It was the blacks. It was the blacks. It was the blacks. And people go, man, that's crazy. But that's not nothing new. That's a thing that's been going on. And a lot of y'all play like let me say this. A lot of y'all don't realize this because y'all don't care, right? There are a lot of women who are not American citizens. That's part of it. That's how they become citizens. They claim they was in a domestic violence situation or they got assaulted. That fast tracks them to citizenship. So it's so with the guys, you know a black man beat me up. That's part of the stereotype. Was he's a 6 foot bald head, Cadillac rims. You know, he came in my store. It's like it don't have to be true. And think about it. The story I'm talking about that broke maybe a month, maybe 2 months ago, month and a half, whatever it is. They put two and two together because it's like, yo, we can't find any of these people. Like this is not adding up, and the reason and it's not adding up in an era where you got cameras, So you own in stores and you got cameras, but you never. But it's rare to have somebody on camera doing something to you. That's a problem. That's a problem. But somebody can get arrested. Somebody can definitely get arrested because, hey, man, it was a black guy. That's all I need. It's got to be true. We can find, this is America, we can find a black guy and arrest him and lock him up. Hey, man, somebody said it was a black guy. So you fit the description. And that's the culture. And people don't care that that's the culture because it's beneficial. It's beneficial. And I brought that up before, the Florida thing, in the state of Florida, not the Indian guy that just killed the people, but Florida is notorious for was it Medicare fraud, $1 billion in fraud, billions of dollars in fraud. New York got the same issue. You get what I'm saying? Just a bunch of companies that's just overbilling. Fraud, 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 fraud. People have been making tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. You remember they locked up the Asian lady who was in the military. She made tens of millions of dollars just scamming. And the military just wasn't, I didn't even know. I didn't even know. It's like, how you didn't know? How you didn't know this? I don't understand at this point. But people say but it's a cultural thing that other people could get away with. Remember last year, was it a year, 2 years ago, when they had the Jewish people in New York, they dug a tunnel, under the city. It's like, what the hell? And they got caught because they messed up a bunch of stuff. It's like, and they also got caught in Oregon. A group of people got caught stealing organs, and you see this time and time again. Right now, as far as the crime is concerned, a bunch of these sex trafficking rings, snatching up kids, snatching up teenage girls, and 50, 60 people, predominantly Hispanic, Arab, Asian, white, predominantly, over and over and over again. I remember a couple of years ago, they had this story. Boy, it's about to be, what I'm about to say is, y'all gonna be like, what? So they had a massage parlor, and basically they figured, they was, it's a massage parlor. They was out here giving happy endings. So they basically did surveillance, and this is the part of the story that's crazy. It's a news story. It was it's verifiable as a news story. So they basically go to the owner and say, hey man, you can either shut your business down or we can arrest you for prostitution. And the dude just shut it down. I was like, okay. That's as far as it went. That's as far as it went. There was no, this is a raid, this is a bust, we locking you up. Nope. Hey man, look. And then people go, well, why would that happen? And I remember I was clowning with some coworkers. I was like, why? It's probably some important people that was getting happy endings that they don't want them to get dragged down. It could be some other cops. It could be some politicians. It could be, it is what it is. So they allowed the owner of the place to say, hey man, hey, close it down, man. And you maybe open up a business somewhere else, but not right here. It's like, oh, okay. But when people talk about the culture, this is normal culture. That's normalized in America. It's normal culture. And then people go, well, nobody's dying. These people aren't killing people. These people aren't doing this, and these people aren't committing crimes. And then and as I brought up earlier about the violent crime statistics, one of the interesting thing about culture is this. Y'all folks y'all really have an issue with pleas. Not the word please, but plea deals. Because there are a lot of things that happen that get dropped down. Murder, drop down to manslaughter, drop down to aggravated assault, vehicular homicide, drop down to reckless driving. You get what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. You could have got attempted murder, but now you got a malicious intent or just a regular assault or a battery charge. It's just weird. People go, because when you run down even the violent crime statistics, there's just a section that just says assaults, just types of assaults. So y'all don't realize how many people plead out of something like homicide, like vehicular homicide, like attempted murder. You get what I'm saying? You've seen it in the news, in social media. You've seen people do things like, oh, that's attempted murder. Oh, and it winds up being a battery. Why? Because it's somebody white doing it to somebody black. Basically. Somebody Hispanic getting into somebody black. So somebody Asian getting into somebody black. So now it's not attempted murder. It's just a oopsie. It was a oopsie. It was a battery. Oh, okay, because they made a plea deal. Would it be the other way around? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's how this goes all the time. But people don't go, hey man, it's the culture. It's the culture. That's what it is. And I'm gonna say this because I think it's relevant. We like to say art imitates life, especially in entertainment. In American entertainment, how often have you seen a movie or a show that white people produced that actually deals with something peaceful? You know, how often, even if they create, even if they create a show about a utopia, it's gonna be some underlying scamming, some underlying violence that just it's unnecessary, but it's there. It's it, you know, the culture thing, even in the entertainment, just can't be peaceful. There can't be uh, what is that antiquity. They just can't do it. It's just not a culture to go. Hey man, we don't need all of this drama. We can't just live a good life. That's just not how it goes. There's gotta be a war. There's gotta be a fight. There's gotta be a hostile takeover. There's gotta be a boundary to cross. Life isn't life without it for some odd reason. And that becomes the crux of a lot of these issues. But we don't go, oh, that's the culture. Don't It doesn't make sense. America looks at ambition in a weird way. Oh, I need more. I need more. I need more. And I need more. I need yours. And I need yours. And I need yours. And I need yours. And I need yours. It's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Even when they make shows like Suits and Billions, and you know what I'm saying, it's always effing with other people's stuff. Just insatiable. I just can't help it. I gotta screw somebody over, and it's like, oh, okay. And if they get screwed over, and we gotta have a mental breakdown and cry and act like a little broad about it. You know, right? So when I say what I'm saying, that's part of the issue. That's why I say the black it's black culture. That phrase, even the black fatigue and all that. That's a hustle. That's a hustle. Because if you change the color for the same exact type thing, it's not an issue. It's not an issue. You know. So I'm gonna leave it at that, man. I've been here on this sucker for almost an hour. Man, y'all have a great one. I'm gonna go to bed because I ain't feeling too hot. So catch y'all on the next one. Peace.